What's the hottest news in the Xbox universe right this second? We're going to tell you.
Who thought the Duke controller needed a comeback? We're going to find out because Seamus Blackley is here.
What questions do you, the community, have about Sea of Thieves, Game Pass, and Larry's Choice of Wardrobe? We'll find out.
And I'm giving away all of this to you. You're welcome.
And we have everything Sea of Thieves. This is Inside Xbox. Hi, I'm Larry here from Xbox Live's Major Nelson alongside Graham Boyd, Jeff Rubenstein, Alex Hebert, and Rakari Austin. We are thrilled to welcome you to the first episode of Inside Xbox.
That's right, Larry. Inside Xbox is back! And this all-new Inside Xbox is a live monthly show that packages up all the freshest Xbox news and delivers it to you hot and steaming. And this month, splice your main braces because we'll be celebrating the upcoming release of Sea of Thieves with unprecedented access to developer Rare. We've also got an exclusive early look at the Xbox Spring Update, an update you won't want to miss on Xbox Game Pass, a preview of long-awaited sandbox survival game Pixark, and, to top it all off, a special Sea of Thieves quest with a prize that is pure gold.
And we will be celebrating great games with you, the community. Rakari and Alex will be standing by over there at the social desk with their fine feathered friends with some of your great comments, pictures, and videos throughout the show. So talk to us. Use hashtag InsideXbox on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And of course, keep the conversation flowing on Mixer as well.
They're also going to be leading the charge on our giveaways. Rukari and Alex, not the macaws. So they're going to be your besties on this show. Today's show, they're the treasure galleon of this show.
Yeah.
We just have so much content, it's bursting at the seams. And actually, speaking of galleons, you just got back from Rare, didn't you?
I did. I had the chance to go up to Rare a few weeks ago and spend some time with the team. My first time out there. Graham, I know you spent a lot of time out there. I've been around the world at different game developers, and this is one of the most beautiful settings.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
One of the most amazing campuses. In fact, this is the right team to be making a pirate game.
They're making the right game, surprisingly in the right place. They're not on the ocean, but look at this office. They look like ships.
Yeah, it's something to behold, and I'm looking forward. You'll see more of that coming up later in the show.
And also later in the show, we're going to be talking with the PUBG team. We're talking chicken dinners.
Yep.
I hope the parrots don't understand us.
I didn't even think of that.
Hey, Larry. Oh, Jesus.
Oh! You did not like that.
We're going to be talking about where PUBG started in game preview, where it is now, and of course, most importantly, what's up next for the game?
Yeah, lots of cool stuff to come up in PUBG. Now, we'll also be talking about one of my favorite subjects, Xbox Game Pass, and what's coming up in April. I'll be able to tease some of the stuff that's happening, and there's one game that I'm going to be able to reveal. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll give you a little clue.
Yeah?
Let's just say that my excitement is building.
Oh, you just love puns.
Okay, for those of you who want puns, Graham's your man.
I need a ticker.
I, on the other hand, will be debuting some new features coming to your Xbox One very soon, and I'm really excited. We're going to demo one right here on this show. How's that sound? Live.
Sounds great.
All right,
Yeah,
going to do it live.
do it.
I also had the chance to talk to Greg Burke about Far Cry 5. He is this guy right here. He's the new Pagan Min.
I'm very excited to see how he's going to be able to follow up Troy Baker, who did just such a great job in Far Cry 4, and even Voss from Far Cry 3. They do really good enemies.
bad
And I got to tell you this, Far Cry 5 looks amazing on Xbox One X.
And don't forget, if you're watching on mixer.com/Xbox, you'll be eligible to grab some bounteous booty for Sea of Thieves and godlike goodies for Smite, thanks to our Mixpot. I love a good Mixpot me. So to be eligible, make sure you're watching on Mixer and that you're signed into your Microsoft account.
That's all you need to do, and then you win. All right, we are smack dab in the middle of the Sea of Thieves final beta, so we appreciate it that you dropped anchor for a little bit and joined us, but there is no shortage of great content being shared by the community right now. Alex and Rakari, what are you guys seeing?
Well, it's pretty simple, right? Screenshots. Lots and lots and lots of screenshots. Look, I said it twice, and I didn't mess it up. Here we go. We are on a roll. So I'm going to pick a few of my favorites, and that's kind of going to be the gist of this whole thing, right? You don't know this about me, but on my Xbox profile, I'm a big sunset person. Love long walks on the beach. So one of my favorites off the bat, and I'm going to just pull this one up here. #1 Sea of Thieves fan.
Look at that.
That's literally what it says. Oh, and I can do that.
Up.
Oh, I practiced. Ooh, look out for your boy.
That is a stunning photograph.
So first of all, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all talked about it a million times over. Sea of Thieves is a beautiful
All right.
game.
All right,
And Larry,
stop,
I know where you're going.
I
know where you're going.
We're going to
There's
talk
wild
about it
hit
later. But this game has the finest water I've ever seen in a video game. I mean, it is extraordinary. You could get seasick. Warning.
Best ever. Best ever.
On the prow of the boat during a storm? Absolutely.
Put a stamp on it. Larry loves the water. All right. my next one here, and this is from Steph here. Again, I love the beach. You know, every time that I play Sea of Thieves, my favorite thing kind of to do, and Jeff, you talk about having no HUD. You get into the world and you see your ship that's off to the side there, but really you just get to admire the beauty.
Yeah, unless you've taken a little bit of damage or you're in battle, you don't see any HUD. And so it's just you, the surf, your ship, the sun.
Also, you don't want Ricari and your crew. Obviously, he's not doing any kind of ship work anytime soon. You're like, where's Ricari? Like, you're not repairing anything?
All right, well, I've got a couple of more to pick here. And you know what? I like the sunsets in Sea of Thieves as well.
This is right before getting blasted in the back by a skeleton.
This is where I'm looking, peering off into the void, not paying attention to what's going on behind me.
Probably not
Well,
passing
I
your
love Sea of
ship.
Thieves, right? For me, it's like going on a little holiday. As long as things are peaceful, it's like having a nice seaside break. You can
with
relax on
sharks
the beach.
and people stealing your boat.
Well, those are details. I mean, it only got
Those are
two
details.
stars on
Those aren't
TripAdvisor, but
And then just
that's
one
fine.
more here. Again, Larry, you touched on the water, and I'm just going to pull it up one more time because it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And we know people are enjoying that right now at home during the final beta.
Absolutely. Going on this weekend.
This is amazing.
Thanks, everybody, for playing along, and we really appreciate all of you at home sending us things with the hashtag InsideXbox. I just picked 5 at random. Those of you who, with that handle on the screen right now, and all of you are going to get those Sea of Thieves game, along with 1 month subscription to Xbox Game Pass. So keep sending in your comments, your questions, your images, and videos all along the show using the hashtag InsideXbox.
Plus, thanks to our friends at Mixer, everyone logged into Mixer with their Microsoft account is going to receive some cool in-game items via Mixpot. First up, you're going to get a stylish black and silver Eben flintlock to aid you on the open waters in Sea of Thieves. It's gorgeous, right? I need that in my life. Mixpot is also doling out some love for Smite with the Stargazer Anubis skin. You'll score the skin and access to the Anubis character and voice pack. And did I mention that all of this is free, and all you need to do is log into Mixer, and you'll automatically get these in-game items. Keep in mind, though, the flintlock does not unlock until Sea of Thieves comes out on March 20th. Right? Can't get it early.
So close, but so far.
So close. Can't wait. Okay, right. So recently, Larry set sail for Rare in my homeland of the UK, but he didn't invite me. He proceeded to hang out with all of my favourite people to get the skinny of all things Sea of Thieves. He didn't even bring me any item brew back.
Oh, I forgot
Thanks
about that.
a lot, Larry.
I don't even know
I'm
what
not bitter at all. Now, Larry's travels included this chat with studio head Craig Duncan and executive producer Joe Neate to find out what makes Sea of Thieves tick and what separates the golden age of piracy from any other game. Let's take a look.
Lydia and I are here at Rare with Craig and Joe. We're excited to talk about Sea of Thieves, right, guys?
Absolutely.
So let's start from the beginning. Fans who are totally new to Sea of Thieves, how would you describe it? How would you sum up that magic?
It's the ultimate pirate game.
Yeah.
Is that's a description? But I mean, our vision is really about players going on adventures together. Like Sea of Thieves is a cooperative adventure game in a pirate universe.
It's about creativity and imagination and coming into this world, and you can look at Sea of Thieves and decide what you want to do, and you can come into it and you can kind of live that out, right? It's like live the pirate life. It's the pirate game you've always wanted. It's kind of how we've always talked about it.
We saw that, the tremendous excitement in the beta earlier this year, and you guys must have learned a lot from that.
I think what makes Sea of Thieves so compelling is you never really know how players are going to do, what kind of crew they're going to form. When they see that ship on the horizon, are they going to go and try and seek it out? Are they going to go and make friends with people? Are they going to ignore them or lead them into a storm to the rocks and their doom? Like it's just all of those magical adventures that you never really know what players are going to do.
So was there any behaviour from players that really surprised you?
You know, we had this fun one where two ships passed each other. We were all watching the stream, and one of them got up on the bow and he's emoting, so he's waving as the other ship goes by. And you could see the other ship, and just as they passed each other, it was like, okay, one cannon shot from either of these two ships, and all hell's going to break loose. And it didn't. They kind of passed, they waved at each other, and they both went about their journey. And it's that kind of stuff that there's no game like Sea of Thieves.
You talked about teams and people meeting up and kind of creating these groups online. I saw a little bit of that earlier this year, where there was groups that were claiming they got 1, 2, 3, 4 ships together and were trolling through the entire universe as an armada. That was kind of unexpected, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think people go, can I do this? Can I do that? Can we form alliances? Is there a mechanic for that? And it's like, there's not a mechanic, there's a game for it, right?
There's a social contract that, to your point, Craig, where we're going to go by each other and you're not going to fire, I'm not going to fire. We're white flag, right? So
or play music.
Right.
That seems to be a universal sign of friendship and peace.
Yeah, and honestly, our vision for the start of this, before even Pirates, was players creating stories together. That was the phrase, that was the name of our original, like, unromantic black and white PowerPoint deck, right? But it was all about that. And so now, when you're seeing players out there, they are having these stories and creating these stories together. And that was just a story you talked about, what Craig talked about. These are all moments and memories for all of our players. It's so much fun to either read about it or hear about it or watch it, as much as it is to play. And those kind of things feed each other, because you watch people playing and you're like, oh, now I want to go in and what can I do in that world? It kind of sparks your imagination, your creativity.
I want to talk a little bit about the world. You created this lush, beautiful world that people are just having a ball in. But it's a little bit different because you're dropped into this world. You have a crew of 2, 3, 4 people. You don't have this really like this big video game marker that says go that direction to do this thing. People kind of have to figure it out together, right? That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I think it encourages play. And actually the thing we all do as kids, which is we go into the woods and we make a fort. I nearly call it a skelly fort because we've been talking about skelly forts. But like, you know, how do you play? What do you do? Like just these moments of like, let's go create fun, let's go have an adventure together. We believe in the magic of multiplayer. We believe in the magic of players being together and deciding what their goal's going to be. And that goal might be to go take out that ship, or it might be to ignore it and go find some more treasure. The magic is there's always other crews or other people on their own adventures in the world.
Our game is uniquely social and has been designed to encourage positive social interactions, and there are features in there that make you smile, they make you laugh, and when you do that, you kind of make friends, like, you know, all accidentally, right? And it's all been designed to do that. So like, try it, play with others, and you'll see that this is like nothing you've played before. We believe so strongly in the power of social play and multiplayer. You can come into Sea of Thieves and make new friends. To have that as like one of our goals for the project, and to see it been playing out throughout the alpha, that like makes me warm and mushy inside. Yeah.
Explain to us what hideouts are and how they work in the game.
Cool. Ultimately, your kind of quest to become a pirate legend, and the goal for this is gaining access to the pirate hideout, which is a place exclusively for pirate legends. Although, if you're with a pirate legend, they can take you in there, and it's a place in the world we haven't revealed where, and we haven't revealed how to kind of how to find it, how to gain access to it. That's a mystery we want our players to uncover.
Okay.
It's a place where there's some NPCs, some ghostly NPCs that will give you access to kind of different quests and goals, and it's really the jumping off point for the golden age of piracy that's yet to come in Sea of Thieves. When you get that ship captaincy that we talked about, like coming in as part of the service, that will be accessible from this pirate hideout. So yeah, it's kind of an exclusive club for pirates.
Well, I'm sure that we're going to hear many, many stories about this. We're just about at launch, so I want to congratulate you guys on this far. You got a lot of work to go, a lot of work to do, but I know that based on what you just told us, the community is going to be part of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. It's been great.
We're just moments away from Major Nelson sitting down with Rare Studio head Craig Duncan and Sea of Thieves executive producer Joe Neate. But first, it has been a huge month for Xbox Game Pass.
That's right, mate. So releasing just this month has been Rise of the Tomb Raider.
That's a biggie.
I know, it's a cracker. I think it might be one of the biggest games we've had on Xbox Game Pass so far. So.
And it sort of ticks all the boxes. Yep. Xbox One X Enhanced, Xbox Play Anywhere. So it's a game that you can play on Xbox One or Windows 10.
That's right.
And of course, it looks phenomenal if you've got the rig to do it there too. And the saves, of course, port back and forth.
Nice. And possibly one of the best looking Xbox One X Enhanced games out there, I think. I mean, this thing looked incredible first time around. Looks even better now. And do you know what? The movie's out this week.
That's right.
So good timing from that point of view. And I've got to be honest, I never got to the end of Rise of the Tomb Raider first time around, so.
It's really good. I'm on my second playthrough, and this is a game that you really can spend a lot of... I spent too much time trying to shoot a chicken out of the air with a bow and arrow for an achievement.
For an achievement, yeah. I think I did do that for you.
Oh, no, you've at least done the important stuff.
But great reason to get into Xbox Game Pass is that it gives you a chance to catch up on those games that are on your pile of shame. You can get back into them and experience them again. So that's fantastic. Next up is Super Lucky's Tale. Again, like a really recent title, came out last year, also Xbox One X enhanced, and it's a ton of fun as well. I've been playing it with my kids, and look at this, there's Lucky himself, bright, colourful, lots of platforming action. It's a cracker.
Yeah, this is another Xbox Play Anywhere game. I've been spending a lot of time with this on my laptop, and I'm just trying to get those last few clovers so I can get to the end game. I'm very close.
It's a nice palate cleanser, this one. Someone tweeted me about this the other day, that, been playing a lot of first-person shooters or racing games or whatever, jump into Super Lucky's Tale, get a total change of pace.
And while it may look simplistic and it's definitely kid-friendly, when you get into those later levels, they are not messing around.
Totally.
There's some really challenging platforming.
Yeah, it's proper hardcore platforming in there as well as all the fun as well. Now, next one up is one of your personal favourites, right? So I'm going to leave this one to you, Oxenfree.
Oxenfree, one of my favorite games in the sort of like narrative sort of genre. No game has handled conversations, no game ever has handled conversations better than this game. Amazing voice acting, very creepy. If you're into Stranger Things or X-Files, not overt horror, but like really creeped out type of stuff and the supernatural. This is a fantastic game. Only takes maybe 8-10 hours to beat, and I might have 1K'd this one as well. Nice. So don't let this one pass you by.
Does great stuff with sound, doesn't it? And as well, and I love the way you can cut into people's conversations.
Exactly.
You don't have to wait for them to finish what they're saying.
It's supernatural the way they do that one. I'm sorry for that. I've been hanging out with you too much.
I know, I'm sorry about that. It's rubbing off. All right, what else will we have? We've got Resident Evil Revelations 2, we've got Sonic CD, The Final Station, and last but certainly not least, Eurofishing, two of my favourite things.
Yeah, you know all about this one. Tell us about Eurofishing.
Honestly, I don't know a ton. I haven't played it, but it's in Xbox Game Pass, so that's a great reason to get in there and give it a shot. But I did spend some time with the development team last year in the UK. They're called Dovetail Games, and they are so passionate about these simulators that they make. They're also making Train Simulator World, which
just came out, I think, yesterday.
Yeah. So, and the communities around these games are humongous. So if you fancy a bit of, relaxed Eurofishing, Xbox Game Pass.
And if you're not sure you're into Eurofishing, well, Xbox Game Pass is a great way to just give it a shot. And
100%.
maybe it really,
It's another great reason to have Xbox Game Pass.
What kind of fish do they have out there? Maybe I want to know.
Oh, just all the fish. They've all got accents. That's what makes them European.
Yeah, just thank you. But the biggest story in March is undoubtedly the addition of Sea of Thieves to Xbox Game Pass.
That's right. Earlier this year, we announced that all new Xbox One exclusive titles from Microsoft Studios will enter Xbox Game Pass when they launch. No waiting, immediate access to games like Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, and Crackdown 3 right on launch day.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Of course, Sea of Thieves out in 10 days' time from now. I absolutely love Games Pass, right? It's like getting instant access to a whole new game collection, right? I always think of this, it's like getting keys to the sweetie shop or the candy shop for you guys and being able to eat whatever you want without ever getting a tummy ache.
Were you deprived of candy as a child?
I was actually.
Yeah,
trying to make up for it.
Well, I'm glad we're getting with it.
Oh, I've got to be careful. And I'll tell you what, it's a great way to boost your gamer score as well. Like I'm on a gamer score challenge this year, and Xbox Game Pass just opens up.
Seen a couple websites that are actually spelling out the best ways to run up your gamer score with Game Pass games.
Nice,
so
send me that
email
email
for that.
Yeah, I need that link. But I wanted to tell you what's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass.
We're like 3 weeks away from April. Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know.
Why don't you?
But you know what, Jeff? Let's do it anyway. The game. We've got 8 fresh games coming to Game Pass in April. I can't tell you all of them, unfortunately. We'll tell you more about some of them later this month, but I can tell you about one, and I can confirm that it's one of the personal favourites of mine. It's Cities Skylines. Now, I've been a fan of city building games since I was a wee boy, and Skylines is genuinely a love letter to the glory days of the city sim. So it lets you design and construct the urban metropolis or the quaint little community of your choice, and offers you a frankly dizzying selection of customization and building options, right? And this game is really addictive, Jeff, let me tell you. It's a great game to sit back with, right? Relax, take your time, plan your city, watch it grow up.
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea. You know I love to play a game that lets you drink a nice cup of tea as well, so it's a cracker.
Yeah, I actually got into this game when the Windows 10 edition came out last year, and I figured city building game, perfect for mouse and keyboard. board. And then very recently, I jumped into the Xbox One edition, and I was surprised at how great the controls were. They really adapted. There's a lot of maneuvering in. You can zoom in all the way to the individual person level in your city. And using the thumbsticks and the triggers to zoom in and out, it's actually very much like any third-person shooter or flight game. I actually really like it with the controller. And the other thing that worried me was like, oh, so many options, I'm just going to get sort of overwhelmed with it. They really bring you along in a way, and they don't overwhelm you with all of those choices. And I'm already bankrupt. So actually, how about some hints? Like, how do you make a good city? You're more well-versed as a city planner than I am.
Mate, I have all the tips for you, right? So tip number 1 is take it slow.
I messed up there.
And watch it grow, right? You know, you start slow, plan your town out, think about what you want, but don't be afraid to sometimes just sit back. You can speed the game clock up a little bit.
Yeah, you just press
and
the
just
left stick.
watch what happens. Let people move in, watch your town develop.
Put in a football stadium as soon as you've got 50 people living there.
Well, there you go. You know, what else do you need?
That way.
But don't go out, you know, all guns blazing, spend all your money first of all, because you need to let things develop a little bit, right? So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2: lean on the bank. The game actually offers you really healthy loans to keep your city growing and keep your bank account full as well, right?
I think I missed that one there.
You've got to get into the bank there. Put on your best suit. Get
I know, maybe a letter of recommendation.
I just want to build a city, please, bank manager. You'll be fine. But just make sure that you're paying off those loans. You know,
that's where I'm good at taking a loan. It's the paying off part. Yeah.
And third, possibly the most important tip of all, is plan early for traffic. Right, your transport network will make or break your city. And I've built a lot of cities and got quite a long way along. And suddenly it's gridlock.
We've already gotten LA. Don't build a second one.
Exactly, yeah. So think ahead about all your travel routes, offer alternatives to car transport. There's loads of different transport options in the game, which is really, really cool. And don't be afraid to demolish areas to put in better roads. I know, you know, you might need to tear down some of those beautiful old houses in your town, but that's progress, Jeff.
That was a craftsman. It was beautiful.
That's progress. That's how it has to work.
Well, speaking of progress, that is not all that April has in store, so stay tuned to news.xbox.com for more details in the weeks ahead. And don't forget that Xbox Game Pass has a quest every month where you can participate to win prizes just by playing Xbox Game Pass games.
That's right. This month's quest is a clash of nations. We are pitting Xbox gamers in the United States, Canada, France, and Germany against each other to see who can compete to win the most... who can earn the most achievements in Xbox Game Pass titles in March. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Do you?
But don't worry. The country with the biggest population won't necessarily win because everyone who enters has a chance to win, but we'll be counting the average number of achievements earned per participant in each country. Are you still with me, Jeff?
Yes.
Good. With the participants from the winning country receiving extra bonus entries for prizes, right? So think of this like gross domestic product, but for gamer score.
You realize I didn't take any economics classes.
Neither did I, but it's all good. Right.
It'll be fair.
But the important thing, right, is the prizes are amazing, and they include the grand prize, which is coming
Larry's
up
bringing
here
it in.
now.
Oh my God, this is so ridiculous and so awesome. This is not plastic, this is not chrome. We're talking a 24-karat gold-plated Project Scorpio Edition Xbox One X. The X clearly stands for extra. Don't touch that. He's wearing gloves.
It's very subtle and classy, isn't it?
And Larry, you will, of course, come by once a week to whoever wins to dust it off.
Dust it off, and it comes with that.
And it does have a matching controller as well. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the C3PO Xbox 360 controller from back in the day, except it is gold. Oh my God.
Actual proper gold.
You got to put that on the mantelpiece if you win that.
Oh, 100%. And lovely to see Larry's gloves back again, making another appearance.
He puts fingerprints on everything.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, don't forget the Xbox Game Pass gets you instant access to over 100 games you can download and play to your heart's content. So that's over 100 games for just $9.99, £7.99, or €9.99.
Wow, you are really the economics guy here. For more information on Xbox Game Pass, check out our official site at Xbox.com. And don't forget, if you haven't tried it yet, you can unlock Xbox Game Pass a 14-day free trial. Now, Sea of Thieves is out in 10 days, so that I can handle that math you should get on it.
Works out perfectly, doesn't it? Now, speaking of Sea of Thieves, earlier we heard from Craig and Joe from Rare about the heart of the game, which is players telling stories together. Now, of course, fans want to know what pirate adventures await them, so Lydia Ellery asked design director Mike Chapman, and what resulted is perhaps the greatest end-to-end monologue about gameplay that I've ever seen. So here's his uninterrupted answer. Enjoy.
You think of like Sea of Thieves as this rich pirate world, and much the same way that players are going to come to the world, we have these trading companies. And these trading companies represent what we believe are the core waves of play that we want to have there for launch. So you've got the gold hoarders. And the gold hoarders have come to the Sea of Thieves to treasure hunt. They were here to amass this great fortune. So they allow players to progress and build a reputation by exploring these islands, and think of it as light puzzle solving. You're digging up the X that marks a spot, you're solving these priority riddles. And then you've got the Merchant Alliance. The Merchant Alliance have come to control trade in the Sea of Thieves. They see it as a fledgling market. And they will pay pirates a cut of the profit if they ferry these animals around the world. The world of Sea of Thieves is not only filled with wildlife that just looks lovely on the island, it's also an intrinsic part of the gameplay. So you have rewards for ferrying chickens of different breeds, of pigs that you need to feed on your ship, snakes that can poison you. So you build a reputation with the Merchant Alliance by finding these rare breeds of animals around the world. And you can imagine the more you play, the more you build your knowledge of where these animals are. And then we have the Order of Souls, and they will pay pirates to become bounty hunters. So they'll send you out there on these quests to go and take down these fearsome skeleton crews and captains. The magic of all of this is that it's all happening in the same world. So you've got pirates of all these different motivations working for these different companies. So one moment you come across a ship and it's doing merchant quests. You hear the chickens kind of crowing in the distance and they go, they must be merchants. You board a ship and you see they've got some treasure chests, but they've also got all of these animals. Or they've got the skulls of these captains that they've taken down. All of this coexisting in the same world means that you get all these different variables at play. You get to have those awesome pirate moments of boarding a ship and stealing someone's little pig that they've built up this affinity for, or stealing this skull of this fearsome skeleton captain that they've taken down. But it's not only that, you've also got this rich world where there's these emergent opportunities. So one moment you could be heading to an island to treasure hunt, and then you head past an island, you see a glint, you look through your spyglass, it's a message in a bottle. So that might take you on a whole different adventure. Or you might be heading around the world and see seagulls on the horizon, and you look through your spyglass and it's wreckage on the water. And there's actually a shipwreck deep below. You dive down, there could be skulls in there could be more messages in a bottle, there could be other quest rewards. We've also got skeleton forts, and this is where you see this huge looming skeleton cloud on the horizon filled with lightning, and that acts as a beacon to pull players together. And the idea is that the skeleton fort cloud can be seen when a fort is occupied, and when it's occupied it's filled with skeletons, and also the vault is full of rewards for you to go and capture. These clouds act as a beacon for that honeypot that brings players together. You might work together in cooperation to take down the fort, to take down this horde mode style challenge, or you might be in conflict. When you take down the fort, you earn a key that unlocks the vault. And much in the same way as our players have seen, the key is a physical object, like the chests, like the animals, like the skulls, and the key can change hands. So you've got all these kind of cool pirate movie style scenarios of the key changing hands, of crews double crossing each other, to be the one that eventually opens the vault door. I guess the point, and I've forgotten as well, we've got storms. So all of this could be happening where you've got these weather systems moving around the world, these kind of forces of nature that you can lure other crews into, or you've got to sail through yourself to reach these objectives. And then, of course, the Kraken. Much in the same way as a storm, the Kraken is a force of nature. You can't predict it, you can't control it. It's something that can strike you while you're out there on these adventures. It's these directed goals through the trading companies. They're the things that give you the steer. You come in there, you've got an hour to spend, you want to make some progress, take on a voyage for the trading companies. But each time you do one of those voyages, it's going to play differently, because you find a message in a bottle. You take the advantage of diving down to a shipwreck. You work with another crew to take down a skeleton fort. You get tapped by the Kraken on the way back with your ship is fully laden with treasure. Never plays the same. It's always going to play differently. How you react to those challenges and those opportunities, that's really the magic of Sea of Thieves.
All right, well, Alex, you've got new co-hosts, yeah?
Yeah.
You're replacing me already?
Yeah.
No, this feels great.
Sorry.
It feels great. Thanks a bunch. I appreciate it.
I mean, they're prettier. Okay, we're good? All right.
You guys are
I was
good.
going to high
You guys are
five,
good.
but like, all right.
Well, we've just heard about players telling stories together in Sea of Thieves. Let's take a look at what the community has been up to. So you know what's the beautiful part about this? We get to pick some of our favorite clips. And you know what? I'm jumping right into this one.
Oh, God, don't
this
look.
This one's from Steph.
Don't look. It's not what it seems like.
Well, what's going on in this one? So, I mean, we can read the tweet out to you. Graphics of Sea of Thieves are absolutely checked, and you can see it on screen here. The cats are going at it. Don't tell the birds again. Don't tell the birds.
Eyes.
Oh,
Shut up. Okay, go to next one.
She's been eyeing you the entire time. Well, that is one down. And all of you logged in at home on Mixer are getting some free in-game items today, but I'm feeling very generous. So for sending this clip that we were just watching here, Stefan, we're going to give you a limited edition Sea of Thieves controller. Marvel at its laser-etched barnacle and treasured golden trigger. Plus, it includes an in-game ferryman clothing set. Look at Larry over there, first of all, with the white gloves on, doing his best Vanna impersonation. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff.
I don't have words.
Now, these things are sold out in the United States and are hotter than buried treasure. I feel like that's a Graham line, but we're going to roll with it anyway. All right, so next clip is up. Let's do it. What are we going to pick here? I saw this one earlier, and I quite enjoyed it. So this one's from Barney, and what's happening here is little to no effort in order to get that chest, that coveted chest. Sneaks up on somebody who's digging up this treasure chest, has done all the work to find it, and loots it. I mean, I guess that's the pirate life, right?
Yeah, right?
That's the pirate life.
Lazy pirate life. I mean, I feel like there's some pirates that maybe don't work
lazy
hard.
but efficient.
Lazy but efficient.
Work smarter,
I don't even
not
know
harder.
Sure how those two words go together.
Well,
Next.
Barney, we're going to reward you for your contribution to Inside Xbox with the Sea of Thieves portable hard drive. This will be released with the game on March 20th. It's a 2 terabyte hard drive, and it includes 1 month of Xbox Game Pass and exclusive jewel-studded in-game weapon. Larry, one more time. Look at how beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, well, we've got one more to pick from here, and, you know, I watched this one earlier, and it's absolutely my favorite. And it's simple. It's very simple yet effective, but it's what you try and do when you get into a game like Sea of Thieves and you've got all the time to explore and check things out. Loads himself into the cannon, shoots up to what's possibly one of the best vantage points in the game.
It's amazing.
I just want to see if you can, if you can pick off other pirates from that distance. So Zet, you know what? You win a Sea of Thieves Xbox bundle that includes an Xbox One S, that's Sea of Thieves game, and 1 month of Xbox Live Gold. This treasure also releases day and date with the game on March 20th. Larry, again, one more time. You're doing wonderfully over there. You're doing wonderfully.
We have to keep the gloves.
All right, well, get ready to colonize the Red Planet. Space sim game Surviving Mars comes out next week. So let's take a look at the latest trailer. Elon Musk, hope you're taking note.
Good morning, beautiful Red Planet. It's time to rise and shine. This is Radio 1 Mars, wishing all of you a great day at work. We've got the weather report coming up in a little bit. But first, the morning news. The construction of our new dome, designed by our best engineers and scientists, is nearly finished. Rumors say that it will house a restaurant, a bar, and a casino. As you might have noticed, a passenger rocket from Earth arrived early this morning, bringing new, brave pioneers to our planet. In the Agriculture Dome, the new water reclamation system has proven to be very effective. First reports say that up to 70% of the dome's H2O can be recycled. Due to last week's meteor storm and the resulting damage to our colony, the installation of new MDS defense lasers has been fast-tracked. Yesterday, 2 additional cargo shuttles were taken into service. These units will help to satisfy the growing demand for resources at the northern outskirts of our colony. Now, it's time for the weather report. We have indications that major dust devils are building up in Sector A7. Oh, hold on. What's this? I don't understand.
Low, so low, will you travel with me to a place where we can be? Where the moon
you go, folks. Surviving Mars. That looks great, doesn't it? But can I just say, I cannot get enough of Larry and the gloves. It's like my favorite thing.
Quiet Larry is my favorite.
Yeah, he's like a mime on there, wasn't it?
He's
Brilliant.
got a lot of range.
All right, we'll be heading back to the high seas in just a moment. But first, Mixer has had themselves quite a month, Jeff, eh?
Yeah, part of the work that I do here at Microsoft is working with content creators every day. So it was really good to see Mixer introduce direct purchase. This is something that's currently rolling out to select partners, but ultimately, a lot of folks, they decide what they're going to be playing next by watching creators. Are they enjoying the game? Do they want to play with them? So this feature allows, if you're watching a game, you're watching creators, and they're playing something you're into, you can actually, if they select this on Xbox One or Windows 10, you can go ahead and purchase directly from the stream. Nice. So you get the game, it goes into your download queue, your favorite creator, they get a little something, something. Everybody seems to win.
Yeah, you know, I love this as well because for developers, I think there's a great opportunity here as well. Like, so many games recently have become massive because of streamers playing them, getting them out to a big audience.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So there's
pretty
a great
much
opportunity,
everything.
right?
Yeah, including Sea of Thieves, which I know a lot of people are streaming right now.
There you go, right this very second. I hope they're also watching this as well, though.
They can multitask.
Picture or something.
I think they've got.
Now, Mixer also introduced a brand new Hype Zone channel recently. Now, I know you know what Hype Zone is, right? If you at home haven't seen Hype Zone before, this is ace, right? Basically, it's a non-stop highlight reel of amazing gaming moments from, like, you know, those really important moments in a game, right?
Yeah,
so
when
the
you're
PUBG Hype Zone channel
you're down to
already.
like 3 or 4 players left, and it's all live. It's not like pre-recorded highlights. You get to see people when like the game is getting its most intense.
Exactly. So you're getting all those moments where there could be a chicken dinner.
Yes.
But actually, sometimes it's even more entertaining if there's not a
parents
chicken
are
dinner.
here. Let's just,
yes,
earmuffs.
Sorry. God, yeah, someone cover their ears. Now, so the PUBG Hype Zone channel already exists, and we recently added the Fortnite Hype Zone channel as well. So no, Fortnite is like the game that the world's going crazy for just now. If you head over to the Fortnite Hype Zone channel, you'll be able to watch, as I say, non-stop clips live from around the world of real streamers really streaming as they get down to those victory royales as well.
It's pretty crazy, like having luckily managed, I was streaming one time, got into the top 5, I think duos with Larry, and immediately all the comments on the feed is like, you're in the Hype Zone, you're in the Hype Zone, and then immediately we got killed because I freaked out.
Well, that's it. I love watching it, and you can actually see it happen to streamers' faces when they realize they're in the Hype Zone, and it's that extra stress and like pressure that comes upon people when they're in there, like, oh, so a lot of people freeze, but that's, you know,
that's
all
part of the fun.
Exactly. It is all part of the fun. It's a great way for discovering new streamers as well, right? As I say, these are real streamers streaming in real time all around the world. So when you're watching it, you can discover people that you would never normally have discovered before, and there you go. You might find your new favorite Mixer streamer.
Exactly. So Hype Zone, you can find it pretty easily at Mixer.com, and Mixer has also announced that they are the exclusive new home for Smite Pro League and the Smite console series. The kickoff for the Smite Pro League begins on March 20th. Busy day, that one, with Rival and NRG doing battle in the fast-paced third-person action MOBA. And for all the detail on Mixer's coverage for Smite, check out the blog at Mixer.com.
That's right.
All right, let's go back to Sea of Thieves. Yeah. Discovery is what Sea of Thieves is all about. And we're not just talking about going from island to island and finding treasures. You actually discover how the game itself works, and like how to fight, how to sail, how to fight, how to navigate the seas, like how to even shoot yourself from a cannon. It's actually really fun watching people
Pirate
the first time.
That
even just lifting the sail, because you're dropped in there, and there's just that sense of discovery, and it's actually really fun to watch other people do that as well. Creating natural design like that, though, is actually a tricky business. So Major Nelson and Lydia dug into this approach with lead designer Shelley Preston and art director Ryan Stevenson. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Joe Neate. He's the executive producer for Sea of Thieves, and the man can make up some pirate names, trust me. It's going to be a live interview from Satellite, from Rare in the UK, to check in on the final beta and discuss what changes are afoot based on player feedback. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, Lydia here with Major Nelson, and we are joined by Ryan and Shelley from the Sea of Thieves team, and we're going to be chatting about all things design.
Very excited to talk to you guys, because I've played a lot of the game. We both have. And there's a lot of interesting touches in the game that people may not realize that are subtle. The game gets out of the way and kind of teaches you. I want to talk about your design and approach and your ethos to Sea of Thieves.
With Sea of Thieves, wherever possible, we didn't want to have HUD and UI elements on the screen. We wanted you to be really immersed in this world. And we saw it as a real opportunity that we could just teach you through natural kind of audio visual feedback, just teach you how, especially things like how the ship works. You just feel like you're learning that naturally, like the ship is this real mechanical thing that you're learning how to sail. So we wanted to keep all the feedback like just natural and in world, so that you're just immersed, and instead of looking at little indicators on the screen, you're just in the world. And the crew that you're with is a really important part of that. Bringing you together and trying to think of ways to kind of naturally have you cooperate and need to communicate together was a part of that. So the reason why we split the map up from the person on the wheel is so that you kind of need to cooperate together and to communicate. And I think the way that everything works naturally kind of helps with that, bringing you all together, because you kind of need everybody having their little part in the adventure.
And the real world as well. It makes it feel like a world where if you're just pulling up menus to kind of look at things rather than an actual physical map, it kind of gets in the way of that experience, where when you're using a lantern, you're using the compass, you're looking at the map and looking at the wind, it makes you feel like this is a world that ticks in the sense.
That's exactly what we wanted you to believe you're there in Sea of Thieves. You know, that's the lack of HUD on screen. You're really there, you're in this world. You're acting how you would expect to act. You know, if you're lost on an island and your crew's trying to find you, they don't look on a mini-map to see a marker of where you are. You get your compass out and go, oh, I'm to the west, or you say, I can see the sun setting behind me, and you just use natural in-world ways like you would in real life.
Yeah, and I think a great example of that is when you look up and you see the direction of the wind. I mean, clearly everyone knows, okay, the wind's going that way, I guess I gotta have my sail so that I can turn it around and enjoy the breeze to my back to get where I want to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the more you turn your sails, the more wind you're catching in the sail, the faster you're going.
Even the amount it billows as well. So the final billow when you really catch it.
There's kind of a neat snap to it. Yeah, it's kind of boom.
We exaggerated that. We wanted that to really pop, so you get that feedback that it's in the perfect, you're in the sweet spot.
So you talked about sort of exploration and discovering things for yourself. Obviously, with an open world game having this mass, advanced sea to explore, how did you deal with kind of getting to the end of the map, if you will?
That's one of my favourite things, actually.
The idea was to create this kind of impenetrable fog around the outside of the world, which was the nickname the Devil Shroud. So it is this really disruptive kind of sea that's poisonous. So we made it visually like it was dangerous to be in, and then the design came in with the whole way it starts damaging the ship as well.
We wanted, like you said, just a natural, you might sail off the edge of the world and you're kind of surprised, like, why is the sky turning red? Like, what's happening? And then you can hear, like, the ship is under strain. The audio team did an awesome job with that. It really feels like your ship is getting punished, it's crumbling. And then you start taking all this damage, and then very quickly you learn, like, okay, that's what happens when I sail off the edge of the map.
There's a couple of other things I noticed, like what you're doing, some of the game mechanics to bring players together, the skull over the island. That's a very subtle thing, but I mean, everyone will look up and see us go, something's going on there, let's go.
Exactly.
Right? And that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was designed for, is so that you can see it from really far away and you can make that decision, do we want to go there? Because, of course, you know that everyone else can see it as well, so it's a dangerous place to be, but there's great rewards to be had if you go and take down the skeleton fort.
The original idea for it as well was quite interesting in the sense that we knew we wanted to have a skull island, but we didn't want to do the traditional kind of like rock skull on an island and you just go around and go, there you go, that's what it is. So it was born out of the idea of having billows of smoke coming out of an island and forming that skull cloud. So we actually had that quite early on, this visual that we thought was really interesting. And then as soon as the skelly forts appeared and we had the idea of bringing people together, the skull fort just kind of fit.
Yeah, because it kind of hovers above in this very foreboding fashion that's, in some ways, it's beckoning you.
Oh yeah, beckoning you for death.
So as a designer working with art and visuals, what was it like working... Art director.
Sorry for the correction. Yeah, the art director. It was the fact that there was so much freedom in the sense of that the design is pared back in the sense of the way that it's not about menus, it's not about overly mechanical kind of like systems. It's lots of these little touches. And so with the artwork, it was all about creating a believable world. So everything feels real to you when you're going around the world, and also the way you interact with it all. And we were able to put really history into every single item. So from the compass that you hold in your hand with a cracked lens to the telescopes that feel battered, we were trying to get lore and story into every single item. And by the design being quite light in some of the way that it interacted with them, we were able to really make the most of it.
We are 60 or 70 miles from the ocean. How in a landlocked space like out here in Rare did you guys do such an excellent job? Tell me about the research you did to capture so accurately what it's like to be on the ocean and to be a pirate.
I've watched a lot of films. I think I've watched virtually every single pirate film there is ever, even the bad ones, all the bad ones. But yeah, we also went to the Golden Hind down in London, which is
and a Cutty Sark as well. Didn't we? We went to like a big ship and a really little ship where we were all hitting our heads on the ceiling. It's about that, almost playing as a kid and your imagination and your version of what being pirates and being out on that ocean is. And so there's a simplification of that as well to kind of just.
But it's the quintessence. I mean, I've played so much of it, and it's so wonderful. It is like the quintessential pirate experience when you were a kid, right? It's the mind's eye, perfect, beautiful version of being a pirate.
I think everyone has their idea of what that is, and everyone's got their different inspiration for that of Pirates of the Caribbean or like I love the Goonies, and everyone's got their own version of where that comes from. But then you've got a team of like 100+ people all with that idea, and everybody's bringing their own version of that. And I think that's why it's such a powerful thing, because everybody knows pirates.
And we embraced all the tropes. We just kind of looked at all the classic pirate things and just went, we've got to do this.
Yeah, we literally have got a children's book that's like 101 like pirate ideas, and we joke that that's our design document. It's like, but when you do read through it, it's like, yeah, we've got that, you can do that. It doesn't have vomiting into a bucket.
It's a children's book, maybe the next one anyway. Shelley, Ryan, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. I am here live with Joe Neate, executive producer for Sea of Thieves, reporting in live from Rare in the UK, where the team is holding their final beta right now. Joe, you must be so busy at the moment. Thank you so much for sparing some time to join us. What's the vibe like in the studio just now?
It's crazy. It's like the anticipation, for launch that's coming up, and also just the excitement now for the beta as it's live with loads of people monitoring everything that's going, and the kind of the amount of players are climbing and climbing and climbing. We've currently got our highest amount of players we've ever had playing Sea of Thieves at the same time, like right now, which is just it's amazing, and it's going to keep growing through tonight, I think.
Nice, and we can actually see some of those live stats behind you on the screen. So you're sitting in the lobby of the Rare office near Birmingham in the UK, right? Tell us about that screen behind you.
Yeah, so behind us here, we've got some fun stats, nothing too kind of business critical that we're kind of sharing here. But in the bottom left, you can see that there's players kind of on adventures, showing who's in solo crews, who's duo crews, and who's in galleon crews, kind of which of those has been selected today. So this is all kind of today's data, because it's really important to us that there's always a spread of players, and kind of, so there are people out there on their own, there are duos, there are the bigger ships. So you've got that real kind of mix. So when you're out there and you see that set of sails on the horizon, first of all, you're trying to spot what kind of size it is, and then you don't really know how many people are on those ships. But yeah, really important to us as we grow this game and move forward, that we've always got that balance. And so we take this data, and if it's going in the wrong direction, then we'll start tweaking things in behind the scenes and making decisions to bring that back into balance.
All right, so the final beta is happening right now. Everyone can download and play it this weekend.
Anybody can go and play, yep.
Fantastic. So what are you showcasing in the final beta that you maybe haven't shown before?
So two major things. The first one is skeleton forts, which I think we talked about in one of the previous sections about this skull cloud on the horizon that you'll see appear. It alerts everybody in the world that there's a skeleton fort is now occupied, and if you kind of sail across there, the music will start playing. It's like your heart starts beating as you start approaching the fort with the cloud above it, and it's going to be populated by lots and lots and lots of very kind of angry and dangerous skeletons protecting the treasure that's in the vault kind of at the bottom. But you need to defeat all of those to get the key and unlock it. But at the same time, anyone else in that server could be sailing there. So you need to decide when you arrive whether to kind of crew up and kind of build that fragile alliance with people and hope that they don't betray you as you're kind of fighting against all of these skeletons, or perhaps you want to go in there and maybe wait around a bit and then try and steal it off someone else. And it's what's going to lead to just so many interesting stories where the choice is in players' hands. And we've been watching, on the big screen behind us here, having kind of live streams and stuff on Mixer and Twitch, just really loving seeing how this plays out differently every time. And then alongside that, we've got the Merchant Alliance, which is one of the additional trading companies that are in there. And so they send you out in the world to collect animals for them at the moment. So we've introduced pigs and chickens into our world. So you get given a little crate. You have to kind of hunt around find them in the world, and then take them back to a certain kind of outpost within a specified time. It's really cool, the kind of reactions that you'll get from the animals. So the pigs, you have to keep them fed, and so you need and they love bananas. Like, it's renowned that pigs fans of bananas.
You love bananas.
And we've done our research, yeah. But and so, you have to keep them fed and stuff. So if you're on an island and you spy a pig, if you get a banana out, then he'll be friendly. He won't be scared of you because he can smell that lovely, luscious banana. But, if you then switch to a gun, then the pig suddenly takes fright and flees off into the hills, and it's really funny. But one of the kind of saddest things, I think, at the moment, actually, that our players are discovering is right now there isn't a way to, if you kind of accidentally capture the wrong animal in a crate, you can't actually kind of release it from that crate yet.
Oh.
And so there's only kind of one choice that you have if you want to kind of empty that crate.
Don't say it, Joe.
And go and find the right animal.
Don't say it.
I'm just going to leave that to leave that to your imaginations. But yeah, so that's something that we'll be addressing in the future, I think. But at the moment, you've got to kind of take a deep breath and kind of look the other way while you do what needs to be done.
Do you think the Merchant Alliance might be interested in a couple of fine parrots? I could give them a good price.
I'm sure they will. Yes.
Joking aside.
I'm waiting for that to go terribly, terribly wrong, by the way, Graham. I'm waiting with bated breath.
No, well, that'd be good.
But they seem very well behaved.
It'll make for good gifts. Let's just say that. The approach you've taken to Sea of Thieves all along is to bring the community and the players of the game with you as you go through this development journey. Tell me about some of the feedback that community has given you over the past couple of years that has driven real change in the final game.
A lot of it has been around kind of frequency of ship encounters. That's probably been the one that we've had most feedback on, because it's a real balance within a shared world like Sea of Thieves to have that, for those players that like to go out and hunting other pirates and engaging in that kind of player versus player combat. They want to be able to find other ships and stuff, but you've also got people who are kind of maybe in the mood for exploring and navigate and wandering around islands and stuff, and they need to have a bit of breathing space and everything else. So that kind of frequency of encounters between players is something we've taken loads and loads of feedback on. We've used telemetry, we've been sending surveys out, reading the forums, reading all social media, and it's something that we're pretty happy with at the moment, but we'll continue to kind of monitor it as we go, because we've made a lot of changes to the view distance, so how far you can see other ships. We've introduced the spyglass, so you can kind of get up in the crow's nest and see things on the horizon, and all of those things really add to it, because you can see a ship a long way in the distance now, and you really get to make a choice as to whether to engage. Maybe you want to go a bit stealth and sail behind an island and hide there. You've really got that choice as players now. But yeah, there's been so much feedback and ideas and questions and everything, and it's been an incredible journey to bring this game to market in the way that we have. It's been something completely new for Rare, but it's been so rewarding, I think, for us and for our community. And it's not ending at launch. It's all in one way, it's also just starting there as we look to move forward beyond launch. We're going to be operating in the same way.
I want to come back to what happens after launch, but there's one thing I noticed has changed a little bit recently is character selection. Can you tell us more about how you can choose your character and then the kind of customization you've got through the game?
But basically we kind of wanted to try something a little bit different with character selection, and we wanted to kind of encourage people to maybe come out of their comfort zone and maybe pick a character type that they wouldn't normally go to if they were just faced with a kind of selection screen and a creator or something. And we wanted every character to really represent a kind of the rare character, the type of character you'd see in a rare game. And so when you load up on the front end, you get this carousel of kind of 8 characters, which you can refresh, and it will kind of generate different ones every single time. We call it our IPG, our kind of infinite pirate generator. Nice. And so we've put that in, and we've been testing it with players, and I personally love it, because I just look through until I find someone that's just a little bit oversized, a little bit kind of exaggerated, and something that just is really going to stand out there in the world. Mm-hmm. But we've also seen feedback from our players around they want a little bit more control, and so at the moment, our team working super hard towards launch, and they're trying to get a little bit more control in there for launch. launch. And one of that is actually the ability to just kind of, if you find one that you think you like, but you want to explore a bit more and refresh a bit more, you'll be able to kind of just press a button and it'll just save that one, and then you can start refreshing the 7, or then save another one, then the 6th, and so you can end up with a lineup of characters that you've kind of favorited almost. So they're working super hard on that. It might make it in for launch, like the team's working super hard, but if not, it'll be one of the kind of first post-launch updates. And again, that's how we're going to be operating this. It's about, let's put stuff out there, let's try things a little different, because we love doing that at Rare. See how it lands and take that feedback and then look to improve and iterate. And that's just one of the examples of that.
Great. Now, talking of feedback, this is something somebody told me. I didn't know about it, but I absolutely love it, right? I hear that you have been joining games in Sea of Thieves, like undercover, incognito Joe Neat, not telling people that you work for Rare and you're so important to the development of the game. What has your experience been like when you've been doing that? Like, what kind of things have you been hearing, and has there been any moments that really stood out for you?
Oh yeah, there's been so many. Like, what I love, why I do it is to find out how our game is being played in the wild. Without any, if I was to kind of step on board and introduce myself as the EP of the game, people might behave a little bit differently, right? Maybe they'd start they wouldn't be giving me the right feedback. They wouldn't be playing it in the right way. So I just go in there and be quietly, almost pretend. Yeah, right. They'd probably just do that straight away. Yeah. But and so I just go in and just play along as almost like a new player and let people guide me, and I just see how they interact and how they work together and what their thoughts are and questions, and I love to hear them discussing things and speculating about stuff in the game. And I remember joining this crew. There was like 2 players who were brothers, and one of the brothers was clearly the guy that was in charge. And he was like, as soon as I joined, he stated that he was the captain, and so he was in charge. He's going to be telling everyone what to do, and then introduced his brother and stuff. And we were off sailing, and he wanted to make friends with another crew, so we did that, and we joined up together. But then at a certain time of night, you can sometimes hear this really eerie creature noise in the world. And someone was like, oh, what's that? What's that? And he's like, oh, that's the Kraken. And I was like, raised an eyebrow at this time, because this was quite a few months ago. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, that's the Kraken. That's in the world. It's like, so don't jump in the sea now. Definitely don't jump in the sea, because it'll be around. And everyone was like, oh, really? Is that the case? And I was just sitting there going, pretty sure that's not been put in the game yet. But I love that kind of players' imagination and the stories they tell each other and stuff when they're playing together, and I just like being along for the journey. And I tend to, at the end of a session, I'll let people know who I am, and I'll kind of take their feedback and questions and stuff. And I've added a lot of friends on Xbox Live via that, because I love to play with those guys again in future and get their feedback as the game kind of grows and evolves. Great.
Creating stories together, Joe. That's what the game's all about, isn't it? Mate, I know you've got a game to get out the door in 10 days' time. That isn't the end of it for you. I know you've got a lot of work to do beyond that. Please send my love to all the team. I miss you all. Hopefully I'll get back over to see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go, everyone. Joe Neat. So as you've seen, Sea of Thieves is brimming with charming features. But for me, busting out my hurdy-gurdy on the poop deck or playing a sprightly tune on the squeeze box atop the bow is pretty high on my list of favourites. And speaking of sweet, sweet music, Larry recently had the chance to jam with Rare's legendary composer Robin Beanland about how these classic instruments were brought to life on the high seas.
I'm here with Robin Beanland. Robin is the music director here at Rare. Nice to see you, Robin.
Nice to meet you.
Now, part of Sea of Thieves, one of the magical moments is the music.
Thank you.
It's certainly something that when I was playing the game, it was expected yet unexpected. Some of those great moments. Tell us about the music in Sea of Thieves.
Okay, so I think one of the first sort of bits of feedback I got was, what would a pirate orchestra sound like? So I started sort of thinking on that and thinking on the instruments that we'd use and it not being too perfect, and almost like the pirate is just getting around the instrument, not a virtuoso on it. They just sort of kind of carry a tune on it. Sure. So it was that kind of thing, getting all the creaks and the scratchiness of it.
Tell us about the actual theme music when players are joining the game. That's something you wrote.
It is, yeah. So the theme, usually, I mean, traditionally when I come to write a theme for a game, I'll usually sit at the piano, noodle about, and sort of come up with some sort of melodies. The other things we did was I wanted to make some rhythm burns because I'd seen them and I thought they were
Now, what are
cool.
these?
These are cow ribs.
Okay.
And you play them. So I went to my local butcher and I said, have you got any cow ribs, flat ribs? And he said, what are you making, spare ribs? And I said, no, I'm making some rhythm burns. And he's like,
right.
What? So I had my iPad because I thought I'm about to get that question. So I showed him. He said, "Oh yeah, you need the flat ribs. Come back on Friday."
Okay.
So I went back, got a bag of ribs, boiled them off in my pan at home, and then cut them down to these. And it took me about 3 days to try and get that technique down. But while I was sat in here, trying not to disturb everybody else, I was just going.
So you're trying to find the sound.
Yeah, and I was just messing around with that. I thought that's a pretty cool rhythm. And I started layering that rhythm up. So that's the first thing that I did for the Sea of Thieves theme. And then I put a melody to that, which is quite unusual for me.
And is there a name of the song?
I think we've called it Maiden Voyage.
Now, I want to talk about some of the instruments, because some of the instruments you use, you have some here. Why don't you bring them up here?
Yep.
You've got this one here, which is a...
Concertina.
This is a concertina.
Yep.
Which looks like an accordion. What's the difference?
Well, the accordion has the sort of piano keys either side, and this is buttons.
Okay. Could you play this for us?
I can give you a little go on it.
Okay, now this is actually the same instrument that people hear in the game.
This is, if you pick up the concertina...
Which is something in-game you can do.
This is it. This
Okay.
is the one.
Why don't you give us a little something?
We spent a long time going through a big cabinet of these at the shop.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry. There's a shop that sells these still?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I had a big cabinet full of them, and they're all really nice.
Right.
They all sounded really nice and really just a bit nice, though.
Too nice.
Too nice, and then we landed. This one was skulking around the back, and so what's happened? Let's have a go on that. Just the notes are a bit kind of dull, and some don't work, and it's all really.
Yeah.
You can hear it breathing.
Yeah.
And it's just, we record all that stuff in game, so you get that.
And it adds life to the game.
Yeah, it sounds like something that's been sort of living on a pirate ship and not taken care of.
The other one is the hurdy-gurdy, which is this really fascinating, sophisticated instrument that, this again is another instrument you can play in game.
Yep.
But I know you're getting all strapped in here, which concerns me.
I am, because it costs a lot of money and I'm scared of dropping it.
Okay, that's okay. So this one here you can also play in game, but it's got a very interesting sound. So tell us about this.
So this is a hurdy-gurdy, and it's kind of like a violin, but instead of having a bow, like you have here.
Right. Instead of having the bow.
Instead of have a bow, you've got this crank and a wheel.
Okay.
Here that you.
So this is imagine this is the bow right here.
This is the bow.
Okay, so go ahead and play it.
And then you've got your melody strings here.
Again, this is the same one that you recorded in game. Sounds familiar. But you can play this in game, and this is the one you recorded.
This is the one you play in game, and it's one of those things. We took a bit of artistic license with it. You can't play on that's a drone string, so you can't play a bass line on it other than that single note. So what I did is I used auto tune and kind of made up bass lines, so it was a bit more sort of harmonically interesting. So it's not accurate, but it's kind of as long as it's believable in Sea of Thieves.
Now I noticed when you're playing in the game, if I was playing this device and you were to come along and the game does an interesting thing where you start playing in harmony together, right?
Yes.
So you're playing and I'm playing. All of a sudden, the game just handles that.
Yeah. So if you start playing first,
I can't play this at all. That's pretty much it.
If you start playing first, you'll play the lead line.
Right.
And then if I join in on the hurdy, I'll start accompanying you.
What about this says pirate?
I just think it's it kind of looks like a pirate ship for a start.
Sure.
And it's just...
that sound.
It's just that sound and that scratchy... when I first got it, I was pretty scared of it. Because when I first got the strings
sitting
on it,
next to you.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But then it's just got that kind of scratchy, horrible, clicky piratiness to it, I think.
Now I want to talk about this fascinating device over here. Let's pull this out here. Now this is actually one I can play. Now what is the name of this one?
This is a waterphone.
This is a waterphone. Now so I'm gonna draw this across here. We're gonna make it work, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating. So where did you use this in game?
You'll hear this a lot on the Ghost ship, on the Ferry of the Damned. If you get to the edge of the world, you'll hear, I use this waterphone and then I put it through a piece of software called Pull Stretch, which can do this amazing time stretch. And it just because it's so harmonically interesting. When it's stretched out, it creates this amazing sort of soundscape.
You really were allowed a creative license to go through and create the sound for Sea of Thieves out of using a variety of different instruments.
I think that's the thing. I think we just wanted to sort of get these instruments and play them, not necessarily in the correct way that you should play them, just to try and create this sort of signature sound for Sea of Thieves, so that if you hear it, you go, that's Sea of Thieves. That sound palette is Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And the way we make it work in game is, it's not just a piece of music that starts from here and goes to there and then loops around. It's broken out into individual bits that trigger, and it has a life of its own beyond me, if you know what I mean. The software drives it, and it feels like it's part of the universe, and it's on the wing.
Yeah, between the concertina and the hurdy-gurdy, these are things that you normally wouldn't expect in game, but when they're there, they just provide those delightful little moments.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you very much.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds launched late last year into Xbox Game Preview and very quickly became a worldwide phenomenon. Now we are joined by Nico Bahari, executive producer at Microsoft, who's working very closely with the PUBG Corp on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for Xbox One. And I have to say, amassing quite a great sneaker collection. I love your All-Stars.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Now, Nico, I want to, first of all, thank you for joining us. You didn't bring one, but you brought 2 chicken dinners. You brought the one over there, and then there's one on your shirt. So you're all about chicken dinners.
All good, yes.
Now, working on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG as they call it, there may be some people that aren't familiar with the game. There may be like, I don't know, this many people in the world, but why don't you just kind of level set everybody so we can get started?
Sure, if you're not familiar with the Battle Royale genre, PUBG is a 1 versus 100 last man standing event set on the fictional island of Erangel. Everyone starts off every match equal in the back of a giant plane as it's flying over Erangel, where you can strategically decide where you're going to eject. From the moment that you hit the ground, the clock is running, the map is slowly shrinking, and your job is to very quickly gather resources, armor, and weaponry, so that way as the conflict starts to shrink down in the center of the map, you can do everything you can to become the last person standing.
You make it sound very simple, I should have to say. It is obviously, that's why you get the chicken. So we've been playing, Larry and I, since it launched into game preview last December, and the game's advanced quite a bit. How has the Xbox Game Preview program helped the development of PUBG on Xbox?
It's been a really powerful tool. Xbox Game Preview allows developers to come very early in development to our marketplace. And through that, you can engage a very early conversation and dialogue with your community, all in increasing the quality and the experience over time. You know, we're never really done with PUBG, right? This is a game that lives forever, right? We're constantly iterating and developing on it. And Xbox Game Preview, you can see even over time the incremental improvements that we've made to the experience.
And I want to talk about that because just last week you released the latest patch. I think there's been like 9 since you released the game in December, right?
Yeah, we've been very quick to deliver patches. You know, constantly trying to improve the overall experience, optimize the frame rate. You know, now we've just recently released our spring Xbox roadmap that's, you know, in addition to continued optimization and bug fixing, which is just something that we're going to be doing every day, there's also big content chunks that we're looking at. Everything from things like emotes and customization options to, you know, we're super excited to talk about Miramar, which is the desert map that's going to be coming to our platform as well. And as a vehicle for players to get an early look at it, we'll be launching the Xbox test server for PUBG. So anyone that has PUBG or owns PUBG will be able to download the Miramar test server and provide us great feedback and hop into the desert map this spring.
And that's actually, when you boot up PUBG, you'll go in, you'll be able to choose one or the other, right?
We're going to figure out what's the proper way. Well, when it comes to, you know, when we start off with Miramar, it'll be on a dedicated test server. So we're going to want to funnel everyone, and we'll probably have some dedicated nights that where we celebrate, hey, come join us for Miramar. And then we'll figure out how we're going to sort of present that option to players when it finally releases.
Now, for those folks that are home, like Jeff and I, that play quite a bit, you have played the heck out of this game. You work on the game. You work with the teams. Tell us a little bit about some best practices, as we say. You know, what's the best thing, like where to land, what to worry about, what not to worry about? Do you stay with as the zone closes?
How do you
outside
stay alive?
How do you, how do you win? How do you win the chicken dinner?
I mean, some people that are really like, I've seen you on the kill feed a lot. I think you're pretty good.
Dying though, on the wrong side of the kill feed.
I think you've done pretty good for yourself. It depends on what kind of player you are.
Yeah.
That's really the beauty of PUBG, is that players can express themselves and they can jump into Erangel and play however they want. If you want to go where the conflict is, head towards the center of the map where there's a lot of density of players. If you're like me and you kind of want to hang around and be sneaky, you can start off on the peripheral. The one thing that I would recommend to everyone is just remember where the plane comes in, where you feel like most of the players are going to drop, so you understand as the circle is shrinking, where is the best strategic place to line yourself up towards sort of the end game of the experience.
Yeah, that's one thing that Jeff and I have done, and I've done it with one of my other squad mates, is we'll look at the flight path, and a lot of people forget about the flight path, you're right, and we'll drop down and maybe go to a far corner and start looting because we'll have that to ourselves and hope that the circle is kind to us.
Yeah.
So a couple of like big pro tips that you can't forget. You got to get good at using the back button to survey the inventory, because sometimes things are laying on top of each other. Like a jacket might be covering like a really good weapon.
Yep.
So using back button really fills your inventory with the options that you need to.
Or hitting the hamburger button so you can see everything that's in that pile and just picking the things that you want.
Yeah. Also, double click from a still position will auto run you, which will enable you to use a much more freer version of free look without interfering with the direction that you're going.
Right, and free look is this concept where you hold the right bumper down. You can so you're still running in one direction, but you're able to actually spin around to see if there's somebody coming up behind you or whatnot.
I use it to run away from people that are aiming down on me.
Right. Well, that'll also
don't just drop. By the way, that's what everyone does. They're like, please
run.
go ahead and drop. Yeah, make it easy for us.
There's a lot going on in this game. I remember the first time it's been out for about a year, but jumping in, it's a little daunting. But the great thing about it is you play it, and if you're out, you hit a button, you're right back into the next match, right?
That's it. And it's, for me, I equate it to golf because I'm kind of terrible, but every time that you play around at golf, you get a little bit better. And PUBG is the same way too. Every time you get in, you get better at understanding the environment, learning the landscape, and really getting good at the inventory management, which is a lot of this game.
Something we're not getting good at is learning how to pronounce all of these different places.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a map here, Nico. I'm going to pull this out, and this is the official visitors map for Erangel.
Just pick that up at AAA. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. AAA.
So this is the AAA map, and when Jeff and I were looking at the map, one of the challenges we run into is the moment we spawn in and you're flying over this, you're like, where do we go? What do we do? How do you pronounce some of these names? Like, is that Yasna Palyana? Is that?
And you always just go by the first name.
Kameski?
Yasnaya.
I mean, there's some Milta. I mean, there's some difficult places in here. But some of the name places actually are good to go to, but some of the like for instance, Gatka is a place that my crew tends to go to a lot. There's only about 5 houses there, so it doesn't deserve to be named.
Yeah, it doesn't have a mayor or anything.
Yeah, right.
It's unincorporated.
It's unincorporated. It's septic tanks all over the place.
Yeah, so it's really, we talked about the strategy of where to land and how to land, but one of the things I've noticed from playing